Hi all, I am Ramkrishna Kovuri. I am AWS Solution Architect Professional Certified and AWS Certified Security Specialist. And in my AWS Security Journey, I fixed more than 10,000 plus AWS security issues. I'm going to discuss about AWS security issues each one by one. So, okay, let me share my screen. One second. So this is there is a four type of securities. In cloud level, there is a four types are there. One is identity and access management. Other one is detection. Other one is infrastructure protection. And other one is data protection. So we are going to discuss each one by one. These all the services are related to security, AWS Cloud Security. So, and we are going to discuss about in identity and access management. First one is AWS IAM, Identity Access Management. So we will discuss one by one, like a single sign-on, AWS Cognito, AWS Directory Service, AWS Resource Access Manager, AWS Organization. So we know that is AWS IAM means it's roles and policies. So we have created that users and groups and policies that those will come as AWS IAM. So let me show you that AWS IAM, how it's work. And will explain you all the security issues in IAM level. So users are there, groups are there, roles are there, and policies are there. So I have a 7 users. Okay. For example, this is my sample account. That's why I have a 7 users. In 7 users, there is what are the security threats we'll get. So for example, one of the user is not logged in more than 90 days means we have to disable that user. Means it's delete that user. And MFA. So every user should have his MFA because this is my sample account. That's why I am not able to, I didn't have it not added to this MFA, all these things. And every time is this access key and secret key. So this is a sample account. That's why I didn't do, because every 90 days you have to rotate your access key and secret keys. And these are the issues we'll get in IAM level. And one more thing is in IAM level, you will get it like, for example, developers, what are the access you need to give? And is who is that, who are all having that admin access? For support team, what access you need? And you have to write the inline policies. That is called as a moreover in IAM. So this, we need to secure more in IAM. This is for entry level. Okay, next service is AWS single sign-on. For example, you have hundreds of accounts. For example, you cannot able to log in every time. So you have to make it in SSO, like your use that your office organization level, that email ID, you can use that login and use that is MFA. So this is called as AWS single sign-on. And AWS Cognito. Cognito means people doesn't have some of the users, they do not require for an AWS login. For them, they are the temporary. But that what we'll do, we create for them this like AWS Cognito means, so they have in their user Google and Facebook, Twitter IDs, that email IDs. We ask them to, we will send that confirmation. We ask them to accept it, like confirm that the mail ID is correct or not, and based on that, we'll give the access. This is like OAuth 2.0 authentication for token and identity provider. So MFA, these are all the things will done by the AWS Cognito. And AWS Active Directory, it's a directory means it's a managing that all the users, groups and roles, all the things, that is called as a directory. And AWS Resource Manager. So okay, this will allow the resource manager securely share the AWS resources between in a single AWS account or within an AWS organization. So this resource manager will audit uses of the share resources using CloudWatch and CloudTrail. And last one is the AWS organization. For example, if you have in multiple accounts, what we'll do, you will create on one central account and manage that. Okay, so organization will create one central account. In under that, you can create it a number of accounts. So when you come to your bills or your benefits, all the things will come in AWS organization level, one account itself. Okay, it's all the you track it your accounts and VPCs, what are the security issues are there, everything you can track it in this organization level itself. That is called as a AWS organization. So next coming to detections. Okay, so threat detections. Okay, it's we have in AWS Security Hub, Amazon Guard Duty we have, Amazon Inspector is there, AWS Config is there, AWS Cloud Trail is there, AWS IoT Device Depender is there. So AWS Security Hub means it will provide that is a centralized structure for security alert related to service, such as AWS Guard Duty, Messi, AWS Inspector, or other third-party security tools. And the Security Hub monitor all the CIS benchmarks automatically and send the notification for alerts. So that is called as the AWS Security Hub. And AWS Guard Duty, it will perform to intelligent threat detection and can alert use things go wrong. It uses a machine learning algorithm and threat intelligence to analyze the group of events. Means it's basically it's Guard Duty. It will monitor the suspicious IPs and it will show it. Okay, let me show you how Guard Duty work. So I am opening the Guard Duty, my sample account. So I didn't enable this Guard Duty. When you enable that Guard Duty, for example, if you are using that North Virginia, you can enable it. And once you enable it, you can see total findings, high security findings, resource with findings, account with findings. All the things will find, you can see here. So this is like all the suspicious IPs will monitor. So for example, S3 protection, what are the S3 protection, EKS protection, runtime monitoring, malware protection, RDS protection, Lambda protection. So this all the things, how many accounts, all the things it will be monitored. Okay, this is called as a Guard Duty. Okay, so AWS Inspector. So this AWS Inspector, what will do? This OS level security will show. Let me go this Inspector, what will do? So for example, you have an Amazon AMIs, Amazon, you have some OS related issues, OS, okay. So here is all the security related things will come. Inspector, what will do? It will verify that your all the vulnerability by instance wise, it will enable it. So it will say, check this one, all the how many threats are there. This is like OS related threats will check. That is called as a inspector. So AWS config, what will do? It will be, for example, if you have anything modified in a config level, this configuration, anything, for example, if you modify that EC2, if you modify something in other services, okay. So those all the things will be, it will show that. So how history will show that. So it will continuously monitoring, continuous assignment, and if it is any changes happen, those changes it will record and it will send the alert. So something configuration is changed like that, it will send the alert. That is called as a AWS config. And next service is AWS Cloud Trail. This is a very important one. AWS Cloud Trail, why we use that? AWS Cloud Trail mainly, for example, user activities and services activities, all the things will monitor. This is like a governance purpose will monitor. So that is called as a AWS Cloud Trail. So for example, so you have all user, for example, one of the user logged in, what are the actions he is doing? All the things it will monitor and it will give the reports, it will keep it in S3 bucket. In Cloud Trail, you have to enable in all the multi reasons. That is called as the AWS Cloud Trail. Okay, now is AWS IoT device depender. So this IoT device depender is a audit services and it will be useful for IoT world. For example, your IoT related configurations and policies and certification misconfigurations. So those all the threats will identify. That is called as a IoT device depender. And next will be infrastructure protection. So one is the AWS Firewall Manager, AWS Shield, AWS WAF, AWS Network Firewall. So AWS Firewall Manager, what will do? It will configure and manage all the firewall rules across organization level, and like your VPC, WAF rules, sealed advanced protection, DNS firewall rules, all the rules it will verify. So that is called as a AWS Firewall Manager. And AWS Shield, it will protect your environment against DDoS attacks. There is a two kinds of types are we have, like standard and advanced. So these attacks, okay, any SQL attack or any so like SYP, UDP plots, reflection attacks. These are all the things it will protect. That is called as a shield. This standard is there, advanced is there. In standard, you will get in AWS will provide the free. For advance, you have to pay every month in $3,000 in per organization. It will provide that enhanced protection for in EC2, CloudFront, Global Accelerator, Route 53, etc. All the services it will provide it. So this is called as the enterprise support. Okay, that is called as the AWS Shield. Next is the AWS WAF. So in AWS WAF, we write in WAF rules and it will attached in CloudFront. So like what are the WAF rules we'll write means like XSS and attacks such as XSS, SQL injection, cross-site scripting. There is multiple WAF rules are there. AWS already provided. If you want to add any other rules, you can add it in AWS WAF itself. That is called as a WAF and it will attach to AWS CloudFront. And AWS Network Firewall, it's a managed firewall service that works in VPC and network firewalls, and it will be introduced in AWS 2020. That is called as the AWS Network Firewall. And now is data protection. For example, your HTTPS request has come to in our inside. How data will be protection? That is the part. These all the services will use. AWS Messi used for his machine learning programs, and it will security threats, all the threats, data level. So that intelligent threat detections on AWS S3 buckets, those things. And this basically used for in machine learning level, that is called as the AWS Messi. AWS Key Management Service. So this is called AWS Key Management, KMS we call as a. So this for example, your HTTPS request has come to, once you logged in, your request has come, it will pass your data. So that we have to protect, that we have to encrypt. That is called as a KMS. There is a customer managed KMS keys are there, or AWS managed keys are there. AWS managed keys, we can, AWS only will give. Customer managed keys means it will, customer has to provide the keys. That keys we need to upload in AWS account. So there is a two types are there. It will support in symmetric and asymmetric encryption. That KMS has, it will follow this rule. Like PIPS 140-2 level 3 compliance, it will follow. So this is the example for an EC2 RDS S3 bucket. That is called as, these things will give, that is called as KMS. So one more is the cloud HSM is there. This is cloud-based dedicated hardware module for your encryption key management. Means you will get one type of box, hardware box will get. So there is, you will manage that. So your key, separate keys will be there. You manage that your own keys. So this own keys also, it will follow this PIPS 142 level 3. And when your box is open, then only it will work your keys. You can able to see that all your data transaction, everything. So this is one type of security. This is hardware will be there, hardware level security. Okay, this is called as a cloud HSM. AWS certificate manager. This is called as the SSL, we call as a. For example, your DNS is there. Your DNS has to be secured. For example, if you are not secured your DNS, and this hackers will hack your website. So when you have a DNS, you have to install an SSL and a TLS certificate. So that is a 443 certificate you will install in this your client level. And this AWS certificate you will install at DNS level. So for DNS purpose, we'll use that AWS certificate manager. So this is a yearly once we need to rotate your certificate as well. If it is AWS means you can download directly and you can do it there itself in AWS certificate manager console UI itself. If it is a own outside you are managing, you brought in GoDaddy.com some SSL certificate there means you have to import your certificate. You had your keys, at PEM, all these things, and you have to install it. So it means it has to renewal the certificate. So that is called as a AWS Certificate Manager. For example, I will show you AWS Certificate Manager. For example, this is the one. So if you see here, your connection will be secure. See, if you see here, this is the Amazon website. See, this is that valid period. So if you see here, they installed in March 16, 2023, and it will be expired in April 14th April and 2024. This is called as a AWS Certificate Manager. This is SSL and TLS certificate. This is the certificate. This is the public key. So public and private keys are there. These are all the things. This is Amazon RSA 2048. This is MO01. So this they installed in. This is like wildcard set looks like. So star.aws.amazon.com will be there. So these are the details for in your certificate. Okay, so certificate algorithm, signature, your RSA, all the things will be there, extensions. So it will be CA issued certificate, this one. So this is called as the AWS Certificate Manager. And AWS Secrets Manager, for example, you are managing any strong user ID passwords, your port numbers, your OAuth tokens, and those things you have to, some secure third-party keys, any sensitive information. That what will do, you will create that AWS Secrets Manager. I will show you how you can create that AWS Secret Manager. In Secret Manager, you will have to create and it will rotate automatically. So, 1 second. See, I have the secret manager. So the secret manager, I am managing this Postgres. I don't want to open now because this security purpose. So these are the keys I'm managing, and only I call it a ORM. So for example, this key rotation, all the things. So this automatically it will rotate, and we need to enable this. Only this ARN is there. ARN I will call in core level. So when you call this in core level, it will work on it. So like that, it will rotate automatically. It will be managed and rotated regularly. So that is called as a AWS Secrets Manager. And as you discussed initially, in my security security journey, AWS Cloud Security Journey, I am certified AWS Cloud Security Architect, and I have fixed that more than 10,000 plus security issues. And it means it's not unique issues, 10,000 plus, and it will be, there is a multiple issues camper. So all the security, whatever the services we discussed, so those kind we got the issues and I fixed it. Those are the 10,000 plus. I used to manage more than 10,000 plus AWS accounts. So these are the my security issues, and some 23 security issues I have displayed. I have kept here because I don't want to keep in all 10,000 plus here. I want is what are the majority of the securities, high level security things we got, those I kept here. For example, one is IAM. IAM level, what are the security issues will come? Access key and secret key rotation for every 90 days. Login password rotation for every 90 days. If users are not logged in more than 90 days, we can disable those login and we can delete those users. And MFA enable to all the people, and MFA is securing proper roles and permission to give into teams like development teams, what role they required. For them is the development required, for is the rate. If we need for some particular services, you give particular services edit, and password changes, you give that some rules that you can give it. And DevOps is admin required, admin access required. Support teams, some operation, for example, server restart, server log checking, those, so some of the inline policies, right, and you give it in support team, cloud support team. Okay, these are for in IAM level. So in, as we discussed earlier, cloud trail means this all the user activity, governance, and all the things. What are the services? What you do? So all the things it will be logging. Okay, it means it will record it. For that use for it cloud trail, you have to enable in multi-region, because this is for example, you are using that one region. For example, some other reason also you are using your application. For example, you are using DR reason, some other application. So you are have resource services are using. For example, someone is go and delete means it will not record if you enable only the one reason. That is the reason we request to enable in cloud trials all the reasons. That is called as a multi reasons. So one more thing is the S3 bucket. S3 bucket. So people is getting that telling that is we are not able to access because bucket is a private. So that's why they will immediately go on changing that to public. So we cannot change that in S3 bucket as a private to public. It's S3 bucket always should be in the private. So there is a, so for example, your DNS is in uh, godaddy.com. So it's outside DNS. You are trying to it in S3, it will not work. So that time what you have to do, we have to write in origin access identity, OAI rule we have to write. That is how you write. There is a CloudFront is there. CloudFront OA rule writing means that is the CloudFront distribution ID you are creating. When you are creating the CloudFront distribution ID, what will do, it will ask that which bucket you want to make it in OAI rule, origin access identity. Will give that some bucket name, XYZ bucket name, and it will ask to change the policies and which page you want to do it, like star.html, index.html, like that will give. So it will create that distribution ID and you make it your bucket as the private. That distribution ID, what will do, you can add it in DNS CNAME records. Once you added the DNS CNAME records, it will go and it will pick it and it will get your values. So your whatever the S3 bucket is there, right? Your static website, for example, your HTML, CSS, JSON files, it will pick it from there. So you have to add in that distribution ID in DNS CNAME records. So for that, this rule will use and we can keep it as our bucket as a private. And next is EC2 and ECS Lambda. So this all these services like these are the applications working. This business logic purpose will use. These things we always keep in private subnets. And your database also always keep in private subnets. Separate subnets you can create. So we need to follow that AWS well architect framework VPC subnets creation process. So based on that, you can keep it in one per in one zone private subnet 1A and private subnet 1B, like that you have to create and attach in security groups and route tables and security NACLs and all the things you can attach it. So in your database will be in always private. Your EC2, EKS, ECS, Lambda, all the these services will be always in the private. Only CloudFront will be that no public. And you have to, your RTS, you have to encrypt in, always you have to encrypt, because when you use that encrypt KMS, your data also, it will be encrypted and the encrypted mode will be there. And restrict the security groups and encrypted to RDS. This already we discussed. So in restrict the security groups don't allow for 0.0.0.0/080. Those things you don't allow it because that is the security restrictions. Okay, some value. Okay, so this is one more security issues. So, okay, so some users they are not able to access something. They will enable that to 0.0.0/0. It means it will you are opening for all the world. Don't do that one. Always your security, so proper side range you can attach in security group. And VPC security groups and inbound rules you'll always check. Don't allow this 0.0.0.0/0 that you don't allow. And 80 also you don't allow. Port number 80 also it will not allow. So that is the default port. It's everybody knows, don't allow that one. So enable that guard duty. As we discussed, right, guard duty. When you open the guard duty, it will identify all the security threats, all the suspicious IPs recording, all the things will do. So this is called as a guard duty. We already discussed this one. So whatever the reason your application is running, for example, US East 1, it's running means you go and enable in guard duty in US East 1. So once it's enabled, you cannot able to disable again. So, okay, this is for in guard duty. Restrict IAM access. For example, one of the company I worked in, so one of the account, it was there in the more than 40 plus members are is AWS admin access is there. So those are developers, support, all the people they gave access because there is a lack of knowledge and they don't know how to restrict that all the things. So what I got, when I joined there, so immediately I went and I gave that. I created this groups and groups. I added developers. I gave in to go developers. I gave read access and only this DevOps I gave in admin access. And DevOps plus architectures I have in only admin. Remaining people I gave it rule read access. Some services they want to add it some password changes, something like they want to access. Those I gave it as some permission. Some is a read access, that get access, and some edit access I gave it. Okay, that is called as the restriction the IAM access. Enable that you have to even root user, all the users you have to enable that MFA, multi-factor authentications, and set it up in strict password policy. Always your password will be, it will be like between is uh, like capital letters and in between is letters, numbers, numerics. It's all the policies you follow that. And don't use it in expired SSL and TLS certificate. This DNS level, whatever the expired one, if you use it, it will be again is you are open for in that hacker to, well, you are welcoming to hackers. So don't use for in expired SSL and TLS certificate. Limit CloudTrail bucket access and encrypt the CloudTrail logs files at rest. Okay, it means CloudTrail bucket is there. So only whatever the users, for example, all the people is not required for access for that CloudTrail bucket access. Only is a limit, only is a DevOps, whoever is admins, those people only you can give access. And you can encrypt that logs as well. Encrypt that EBS volumes, it's the data, EBS volumes and databases also. So when it's, for example, you created the database that you have to attaching that EBS volumes, that you need to encrypt it. Okay, that your data will be there in the EBS volumes level. So that you need to encrypt using that KMS or Cloud HSM keys. Avoiding root user and password. So you don't log in using that root user and passwords. Periodically rotated SSH keys. Okay, this SSH private and public keys are there, right? You can SSH means 22 login, PuTTY login. Those keys, okay, PEM keys. Okay, you periodically you can change it. Okay. Reduce the number of IAM groups. Okay, it's not required for the more groups. Whatever is required the groups, those groups only you can create, and you can create as a IAM groups like developers, like testers. For example, is the DevOps, architects, support like that. Okay. Disable access for unused and inactive IAM users. Remove unused IAM access keys. Okay, so for example, we have seen that some users are not logged in more than 90 days. Go and delete that users and remove that unused access and keys. For example, you are not using access key and secret key, delete it. Whenever you require, you can go and enable it a new one. Delete unused SSH public keys, means this is a PEM keys, those things. Whenever you are not using, you can go and delete it. Limit access to Amazon machine image, AMIs, EC2 security groups, and RDS instances. So whoever is required for right people, those people only give in AMI access, machine images, and EC2 security groups, RDS instances. Okay, use the private links and private endpoints. So when you use that private links and private endpoints, while you are directing to via this internet, instead of internet, it will not go to directly internet. It will directly hit the direct services. So there is in AWS has providing that a good feature like private links and private endpoints. So this is about in AWS security. You can clearly listen and you can fix it in AWS security issues. Thank you for your thanks for team, and keep watching and keep subscribing me, so you will get the more videos.